QuickTime events, or QTEs, are button prompts that must be pressed when displayed on screen to pass the given situation. This is usually to allow interactivity during cinematic moments. The mechanic existed back in the 1980s with games like Dragon's Lair, but the term itself was popularized by Shenmue. QuickTime events grew in popularity with games like Resident Evil 4 and God of War, and eventually became very commonplace to the point of player criticism. The negative feedback stems from three basic issues. First, the feeling that QTEs replace creativity to present a situation with cinematics and simple button prompts rather than figuring out how to present that situation within the game's core gameplay. For example, Resident Evil 6 is a third-person shooter with core gameplay mechanics based around aiming over the shoulder and shooting. Here's a QuickTime event, where Leon must aim over his shoulder and shoot, done entirely in button prompts instead of letting you aim and shoot yourself. Second, that QTEs punish the player for failing at a mechanic that is not a part of the game's core gameplay loop, and therefore feels like punishment for failing at something that comes up unexpectedly. For example, Uncharted Drake's Fortune, which has almost no QTEs, making the ones that do happen feel random and cheap. And third, QTEs that are placed within the core gameplay loop in ways that directly interfere with the gameplay. For example, mashing a button in God of War to open a door when simply pressing a button would have sufficed. So while I agree with these criticisms, I think it's important to note that QuickTime events are not inherently bad, just that the most well-known examples of them happen to be done poorly. Now let's look at some good examples of QuickTime events. First, DMC Devil May Cry's QuickTime events have the button prompt represented by the mechanic that button actually controls in the core gameplay, giving the feeling that you are controlling the character in a cinematic moment rather than simply interrupting the flow of a cutscene. Second, Asura's Wrath, another Capcom game. Normally a game focuses on its core gameplay to the point where a QuickTime event would throw off the balance. In Asura's Wrath, the opposite effect happens where the game's core gameplay is so QTE focused that when it does more traditional gameplay sections, it's those parts that throw off the game's balance instead. The game doesn't hold you back for missing a button prompt, instead opting for scoring you at the end of the level based on your accuracy of the button prompts throughout the overall level. What else does this sound like? Rhythm games, Super Beat Sonic, Rock Band, Guitar Hero, games that have button prompts that you have to hit on time, often when a cinematic or special video is playing in the background, and you get scored on your accuracy of the button presses at the end of the song. So while I agree that far too many QuickTime events are poorly done, I also think that they can be done very well. Developers should have a better understanding of when they should or shouldn't use them, and us as players who critique their work can benefit from a more open mind towards mechanics that may have a bad history. Would you like to add your thoughts or corrections? Feel free to comment below, and please like, share, and subscribe for more of the Gaming Dictionary.